Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, coming back to our series on different resources available by the city and beyond. Today, our guest is Victoria Wright. She is a retired and very experienced certification analyst with the city of Chicago. My name is Irma Lopez. I'm the program coordinator for the Illinois Coronavirus Response and Relief Business Center in partnership with the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council. Today, she's going to discuss how to utilize your certification, and this applies to the city of Chicago and other certifications. So pay close attention, take notes if necessary. However, this presentation will be made available to whoever requested. I'll put my email in the chat box for you to reach out to me in the event that you want a copy of today's presentation. Without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to Victoria. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you, Irma. Like Irma said, I recently retired from the city of Chicago in January, and I was a certification officer. So what we're basically going to talk about today, this is one of my favorite workshops to do because it gives you a heads up what to do, how to use the certification, and just how to help build your business completely. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. And I really like doing this class actually in person because I like to get to know the people in the room. But any questions that you have, any experiences that you have, please share them at the end because people can learn from each other when you ask questions or when you talk about what it is that you do. Next slide. So there are several certifications. All of these certifications are to help you build your business. You must decide which one is best for your business. So of course, the city of Chicago does MBE, WBE, BBE, which is veteran, BEPD, which is business enterprise for people with disabilities, DBE, which is the federal, DBE and ACDBE are federal programs for disadvantaged business enterprises and airport concessionaire disadvantaged business enterprises. So they do several certifications. Cook County does MBE and WBE. The state does BEP, which is business enterprise. What's the P, Irma?
Program.
Business Enterprise Program. And then Metro, CTA, and IDOT, which is the Illinois Department of Transportation, they also do DBE and ACDBE. And then CMSDC does MBE and WBE. And the Women in Business Development Center does WBE. But what you have to know is the city of Chicago and Cook County will not accept the CMSDC or the Women in Business Development Center certification for contracts. So they will not accept it if you're trying to get a contract with the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago and Cook County only accept their certification. So it's reciprocal. The city will accept the county and the county will accept the city, but they don't accept anybody else's certification. Now, if you get certified with CMSDC or Women in Business Development Center, it can speed up the process for getting certified. I haven't been able to ask you guys, are you already certified? Because for this class, it doesn't really matter if you're already certified. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but you have to decide, are you trying to get federal contracts? Are you trying to get local contracts? Are you trying to get private agency contracts? So most agencies, most businesses, they accept the city and county certification hands down, no problem. But if you really want to do work with the city of Chicago or with Cook County, you should get that certification from one of those two agencies. And if you're trying to do work with the airports or even an airport that's not in Chicago, you should get the DBE or the ACDBE federal certification. Next slide. So what are your responsibilities once you get certified? And this is for any certification across the board. So you have responsibilities as the vendor once you get that approval letter. So once you get an approval letter, you should please know where your certification letter is. You should know where it is. You should save it. I know the city still sends a hard copy, but you also get an electronic copy. Save the electronic copy somewhere where you can find it. Because if you bid on a contract, they're going to ask you for that copy. Or if somebody decides to use you as a subcontractor, you have to have that approval letter to prove that you are certified. Keep up with your letter, because when you have to do an annual review, most agencies, you have to, with the city, you do a no change affidavit. I'm not sure if they call it that at the other agencies, but most certifications have an annual review. And when you do the annual, you have to keep up with the date of your annual review. And guess where that date is? It's on your approval letter. So pay attention to your review dates that are on your approval letter. A lot of times people get the letter. They're so excited that they got approved, but they don't read it all the way through. So if your no change or your renewal is due in May, you should be trying to send it in March. You want to send it to the agency at least 60 days ahead so that it doesn't get behind. So you don't want to submit it the day of. You want to try to submit it at least 60 days ahead. Make sure your owner and contact information is up to date. If if there's a change to ownership, that's a big thing. And you need to let the agency know, whichever agency you have your certification from, you need to let them know that the ownership changed. And if any type of contact information changed, because if your address changes, your phone number, your email, all of that needs to stay up to date, because if they need to send you something, it needs to be correct in the system. So if you can change it yourself, change it yourself. But if you cannot, you need to contact that agency and let them know that these changes have been made. For your own business, you need to review bid opportunities. And I'm going to go into that in more detail of how you do that. But if you know where you want to find your business, you have to review the bid opportunities. And almost every agency has a page where you can find their bid opportunities. What contracts are out for bid? You have to keep up with that. If you're trying to do work in the hospitals, keep up with that. If you're trying to do work in city colleges, keep up with their procurement page. That's up to you. You have to do your homework. What is the procurement process? Every agency's procurement process is different. The city has a process, the county has a process, the state has a process. And a lot of people get confused with Chicago Public Schools, Chicago Transit Authority. They have their own procurement process, and you should get familiar with that process so that you don't make any mistakes when it's time to do a bid. Recertifications. So right now, on the city side, usually you would have to recertify after 5 years. I know before I left, they were trying to rethink that, because after 5 years, you would have to pay the $250 again, and you wouldn't submit all the documents, but you would have to resubmit documents again after 5 years. So most of the time, a recert is done every 5 years. I'm not sure if everybody is still doing that, and hopefully it'll go away, because you know um, most vendors don't want to pay the $250 every 5 years. But if it is, keep track of it. Make sure you know when your recert is due, and again, submit it at least 60 days ahead. Document reviews and document management. I cannot stress the importance of keeping up with your tax returns, keep up with your licensing, keep up with W-2s and 1099s. All of that stuff is important. You should have a file on your computer where you keep those type of important documents, because you don't just need that for certification. You might need it for a business loan, or any type of grant money that you might be trying to receive. So always keep your documents somewhere where you can find them. Um, if it's a flash drive, keep them on a flash drive so that you know where they are, and and make it easy for yourself to put your hands on those types of documents. Next slide. Marketing. I love marketing. That's how Irma and I met. We were actually marketing our different agencies, the city of Chicago and the state. But marketing is a big part of making your company successful. Right now, you have to use social media. When I first started doing this class, I didn't even have social media in the presentation. But now it is very important to use these social media avenues, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. And I am going to 100% admit that I probably don't know how to use Twitter and I don't know how to use Snapchat. But if you don't know how to do it, find someone who does and make that their responsibility, because you have to stay in the forefront so that people can see you and see your business. They know what you're doing, you know what other people are doing. So social media is so important. And if you don't know how to do it, find a teenager, find a young adult who can do it for you. Have a capability statement, a hard copy and an electronic copy. Um, I know people think, oh, wow, a capability statement. If you can Google capability statement, you can talk about in that capability statement jobs that you've had, clients that you've had. If you do construction, you could put pictures of work that you've completed, but you should have one so that people know what you do. And same with the business card. I used to hate when I would go out. I'm sure other people have had this experience where somebody gives you a business card, but you cannot tell what that person does from the business card. It could just say ABC Company and a phone number and an email and the owner's name. But what does the ABC Company do? That's not a good business card if someone cannot tell what you do when they look at that business card. So make sure your business card references what you do. Is it ABC construction? Is it ABC accounting, HVAC? Something should be on that card that can tell the reader what it is that your company does. I put on here hard and electronic. And I'm gonna say I'm not as familiar with the electronic, but I've seen now that they have these little codes that you can just scan, and people get your business card right on their phone. You don't even have to have a hard copy, so somebody can scan your QR code, and your business card comes up on their phone. So that's something you can look into if you don't want to have to print out business cards. I was watching something on TV and people were like, do people still carry business cards? But you'd be surprised when you go to network, when you go to events, it's still good to have a business card and or a capability statement with you. Personal branding. So branding could be, is it a symbol for you? Is it the way you write your company name? And I put SCORE workshop because I'm going to talk about SCORE when I talk about resources. There's actually a workshop that's done by Chicago SCORE that talks about personal branding. How do you brand your company? And I cannot stress enough that any of these things, your capability statement, your business card, if you are MBE or WBE certified, that should be on your card. There is no universal symbol for MBE or WBE, so you can just Google it. You could have someone create one for you, someone who does graphic design. They could create an MBE, WBE symbol for you. But that should also be on your advertising. So on your business card, on your capability statement, on your website, all of those things should be able to be found. What you do and the fact that you are certified. Google tools. So we all know about using Google, Gmail, but there are lots of things in the Google suite that you can use for setting up meetings. BACP, I'm going to talk about business affairs and consumer protection. They have a workshop for that. How do you use all the bells and whistles in Google? So if you don't know, you can find out by attending a workshop. Build a website. If you don't know how, there are so many software programs now that you could build a website on your own, or you can hire a graphic designer to build a website. Hopefully you have in mind what you want on your website, and then you give someone all of your ideas and they bring it to life for you on a website. Blogs, webinars, and live posts. So when I say that, I'm not, it could also be you listening to blogs and live posts. But if your company is suitable, you could do a blog, or you could do a webinar or a live post. If you're selling clothes, you could do a webinar or a live post about your new inventory, or you could do a blog about what's coming up for the winter season in your store. Whatever it is that you do, you could do a live post. I know everybody's not comfortable. I'm not comfortable doing live, but it helps for your marketing. Face-to-face meetings. So I cannot say enough how important it is if you're trying to do business with someone to have a face-to-face meeting. I've always said that you want a face-to-face meeting with whoever it is that you're trying to do business with. If you're trying to do a joint venture, or if you're trying to convince a prime to use you as a sub, you want a face-to-face meeting. When you get to that face-to-face meeting, you want to be there early. If your appointment is at 2, you should be there at 1:45. You want to get there early. You want to dress professional. You want to have business cards. You want to have capability statements. You want to talk about the work that you've done in the past. So a face-to-face meeting is always important when you're trying to drum up business. And if you want to be a subcontractor, how's a prime going to know about you if you don't try to get in contact with them and actually talk to them in person? So that's all things. I'm sure there are other things you can do for marketing, but these are very important. These are first steps that you can start with to boost your business. Next slide. Utilize all of your resources. So the city of Chicago does have an assist agency list. The city has relationships with several city agencies that work with small businesses to help them succeed. So this would be like Chatham Business Association, CMSDC, the Women in Business Development Center, HACIA, the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm looking at, they have, it's almost 3 pages now of assist agencies. So they're usually a chamber of commerce in your neighborhood. And I'm going to say, I put the link on here, and like Irma said, this PowerPoint will be available afterwards. But you can go to the City of Chicago website and put in assist agencies. And there are so many. All of them are not as good as others. Some are better. And if you want to join that assist agency, there is usually a fee. I think they have an annual fee to be a part of the assist agencies. But there's so many of them. Back Contractors United, Chicago Women in Trades, Contractor Advisor Business Development. I'm just trying to read some because you might want to go on the City of Chicago website and find one in your area. If the one in your area is not good, go find another one. Greater Southwest Development Council, Federation of Women Contractors. So it's a lot of assist agencies, and they keep up with what contracts are available, and they try to help the members of their agencies find work, find contracts. They help with that. So a chamber of commerce is like the Chicago Cook Workforce Development. They help with funding. They help people find resources. The Workforce Development Center at the Chicago Urban League. So that's a chamber of commerce. They help people find contracts. They help people find startup money. They help people find employees. So these are things you could actually just do a Google search for Workforce Development Center at the Chicago Urban League, or the Chicago Cook Workforce Development. These are all selections that you have to find help. Government agencies like the Small Business Administration, SBA. I received an email from them because I signed up for it about what events that they're doing or money that they have for small businesses. So you just have to do your research. But I do want to stress two city departments that even if I didn't work for the city of Chicago uh, for over 32 years, I would send people to Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. The link is there. That's how you get there. Um, you need to know what license you need to run your business. You need to know how to find a location. Before you sign a lease for any business, you should go through Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. What do they do there? They do public way permits. They have a small business center. So they are the agency you go through to get a business license. In Chicago, you need to know, do you need a City of Chicago business license? Business compliance and enforcement. If you have a restaurant, they do have people that come out to make sure that restaurant has food sanitation license. You don't want to get caught in a restaurant that's not clean. So they send people out. They do that type of work. But the other thing that they do is they do workshops. So if you go to their website, just like I was saying, they have a workshop coming up on branding. They have a list of workshops. I know they used to do them on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but I do recommend that you check their workshops. They also have a certificate program that if you complete a certain amount of workshops, they give you a certificate that you can use if you are a brand new business and you need a business loan. You can use that certificate and include it in a loan package to say, hey, I completed all these business classes to help me get ready for my new business. And it helps because you've done your research, you've done what you needed to do to run your business properly. Another department that most people don't know about is Department of Planning and Development. So there's a whole program called Invest Southwest that the mayor put together. They're trying to build up the southwest sides of Chicago, and they do economic development. One program that I know most people don't know about is they have a program to help people buy or rent a location. So if you know of a building that might be vacant right now in city of Chicago, you can write, they have the application, you have to fill out the application, but if you write it out properly, they will give you money to help you, if you win the grant, to help you redo a building. So you could get money to fund a location. So it's through Department of Planning. It's a great program. Uh, Go there to help find money. They do zoning. Make sure before, like I said, before you open a business, you need to go through Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, and sometimes you need to go through Planning and Development. Back before the pandemic, when we were doing live workshops, I had a person in the workshop who signed a lease for a car wash. And unfortunately, after they signed the lease, they found out that that was not an area that they could have a car wash. They couldn't have the car wash because that area could not handle that much water. You couldn't open a car wash in that area because you need a lot of water for a car wash, but they had already signed the lease. So it's to your benefit to check out Business Affairs, Planning and Development for zoning. Most people know you cannot have a liquor store close to a school. Those are all things you need to check out before you open up a actual brick and mortar business. Next slide. Score Chicago. So I believe Irma does some work with SCORE. I'm sure she could talk about it at the end. But SCORE is for financial assistance, but it's also professionals who provide their experience and knowledge to help small business professionals start, develop, and grow businesses. They also offer low cost or no cost business training and numerous templates and tools. So if somebody is coming to talk to you through SCORE, it's a professional. It's someone who knows their business. They are trying to provide their knowledge to the public. They do a lot. I 100% recommend that you go to their website. Check this website out. There's a lot that they provide. They provide mentors. They provide resources regarding funding. They provide legal advice. So one thing, and I'm not sure if BACP is still doing this because of pandemic issues, but SCORE used to actually go to the office of BACP and give free legal advice. They had a 1 day a week where a lawyer would come and you could talk for free about a legal issue. And I'm sure if it was something that was more serious, they would ask you to come to their office. But they did do legal advice. I'm sure they're still doing it, but just not out of BACP. So on June 29th, which is today, they actually have a workshop on strategic planning. So I put that up there as an example of what they do. They have a workshop on strategic planning. How do you plan your business from 12 months out? And yes, you should. You should plan 12 months out. What are you going to be doing in 12 months? What are you going to be doing in 6 months? You should be, if you're a company that has employees and staff, you should be able to sit down with that staff and talk to them about it. If not, you should be making those types of plans on your own. You should make sure that you are figuring out what you can do next. Next slide. Sign up for alerts. So if you were certified with the city of Chicago, you should know that they do DPS alerts. But almost all agencies have something that they mail out. Like I just said, I receive emails from SBA, Small Business Association. Go to those websites, find out what you can sign up for so that those emails come to you. Make sure you select who you want your emails from. We all get a lot of emails. So if you want to do business with the city, you should get alerts from the city. If you want to do work with CTA, you should have alerts from CTA. Go to those websites and sign up. Become familiar with the agency websites. I know the city website is a wealth of information. I'm pretty sure there's transparency in most government agencies. So you can go to those websites and be familiar with how do you find contracts? How do you find bids? Uh, how do you find documents that you might need for a contract? Find out where it is on the website, like CPS or CHA. Just click on things to see what you see. Know the players. Who is in charge? Who is in charge of CMSDC? Who is in charge of DPS? Who is in charge of CHA? You can look all of that up. It's usually on the website so that if you have a problem, you don't get stuck. Don't want to get stuck talking to one person and you feel like you weren't treated well. So know who the players are. Know who is the next person that you can talk to get answers. Attend workshops like today. Attend SCORE workshops. Attend BACP workshops. You get to decide what you want to sit through and what you don't. So those are always good things to do. Attend events. So almost every agency has events every year. And what that does is allows you to come out. Guess what you can do? You can find out who the players are. When they have an event, they have people from those departments come out. Make sure you attend so you can say, hey, can I get your business card? Can I get your business card? Find out who's there. If you're interested in doing work for aviation, attend an aviation event. They have national events depending on what you do. You don't want to just be, you don't want to just attend local events. You want to attend national events if you can. And I know they can get expensive, but if you start off with the free ones, that's the best place to start. Stay up to date of the other companies in your industry. I cannot stress that how important that is. You want to know who else in your industry is going after contracts that you might be going after. I would always tell people if there's a $2 million contract and you know your business is too small, you might want to find out who is going to bid and see if you can partner with them. If you can, if you're a landscaper and you have trees that last forever, then you want to contact a prime or another agency and say, hey, you do flowers, I do trees. Do you think we can do a partnership? But you have to know who's in the industry. You have to stay on top of, check other industry work websites. Know who your competition is at all times. Next slide. So this is the city of Chicago's bid opportunity list. This goes out every Monday, and it's the actual bids that are on the street. And I just wanted to show it to you just in case you've never seen it and to encourage you to sign up for alerts. But all of this is important, but what you need to know is the spec number, which is the contract number, which department, which city department is actually trying to make this purchase. Is it the police department? Is it the health department? Is it aviation? So guess what? If you know what city department this contract is coming from, you could possibly contact that department and ask questions. You want aviation contracts, or you want BACP, whoever handles contracts. You can do that. They can't answer all your questions, but they can answer some questions. Uh, Project description. So from the project description, if you don't understand if it's something that you actually have experience in, I recommend you contact the department. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. So you can contact them directly to find out, is this something I should actually bid on? Another important person on this list is the procurement specialist. That is the person in DPS who you can contact if you have questions. They cannot give you information that will give you the possibility of winning the bid uh, over someone else. They can answer your questions, but they can't give you a heads up over everybody else. So if you open this electronically, and it is on the City of Chicago's website, if you click on the name, it actually gives you a phone, it either gives you a phone number or an email of how to contact that person. That's a good thing. So these are all things that are available to you if you need help. And then the status. What's the solicitation status? Where is it at in the process? What's the due date? I cannot stress enough to keep up with the due date for a contract bid. If the bid is due at 12 o'clock, please make sure that you are submitting it at 11:30. You don't want to get to 12 o'clock and the city's clock says 12:02, but your clock says 12 o'clock. Don't do that. Try to submit at least 30 minutes ahead of time so that you know that you got that bid in on time. Next slide. So the city of Chicago also does a buying plan, but it is not just the city of Chicago. So a buying plan is a forecast that usually goes out between 12 and 14 months of everything that is going to be purchased from all of these agencies. So all of these agencies work together. They send their information to the city of Chicago, and one big book is produced. The book has gotten so big that you should go to the cityofchicago.org/DPS, open it electronically because there's so many pages. But look at all the agencies that you get to find out what they're going to buy. City of Chicago, Cook County, Chicago Public Schools, Chicago Park District, Board of Elections, CHA, CTA, City Colleges, Cook County Forest Preserve, the Illinois Tollway, Metropolitan Pier and Exposition, which is McCormick Place, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, Public Building Commission, and the state of Illinois. So these are giving you an opportunity to find out what is the state of Illinois going to purchase in January of 2023, or what is the Chicago Housing Authority going to purchase next summer. What does that do for you? You can get ready. If you see something that's coming out, if landscaping is coming out in January, you can get ready. I'm going to talk about how do you get ready, but you can find out how soon a contract is going to come out. Not going to promise that that date won't change because it can change depending on the department. But if they have it on the list, it is something that they are looking at and they do plan to purchase. Next slide. Read instructions carefully. Solicitations for bids, proposals, and qualifications contain a lot of information and may have mandatory forms to complete. Those forms can be confusing. You have to read everything carefully. If you have to have somebody else read it with you, I recommend that. Read everything and know what you need for that bid before you submit the bid or before you start preparing. Prepare all your documents. That's why I said keep all your documents together so that when you're ready to bid, hey, you got them on that flash drive and you're ready. Non-responsive bids must be rejected. Non-responsive just means you didn't submit everything that they asked for. So they consider that non-responsive. Rejected bids increase the cost of work to the agency and may result in your firm not getting the contract. So you don't want to be not even considered because you forgot to put your approval letter in. You forgot to put your approval letter into the bid, or you forgot to put your business taxes into the bid information, or what is your who are your employees? Any of these things can be asked for, but you may have to make sure you have them. Missing information can disqualify your bid. A missing signature, a math error, or the failure to complete all documents can be cause for a rejected bid. All of this information is important when it's time for you to submit the bid. Read everything carefully, have someone else read it. If you don't understand what it is that you need to submit, contact the procurement specialist so that you do understand. And that's a question you can ask, because if it says submit a CA4 and you don't know what a CA4 is, they can tell you that because that's public knowledge. That's something everybody who's going to be it, they need to know what that form is. And I just made that form up, so I don't want anybody thinking that's a real form. But if you need to know what it is, contact somebody so that you know what that is and where to find it. Next slide. Search for awarded contracts. I love that the city provides awarded contracts. It is on the home page of the City of Chicago DPS website. I have the website right there. City of Chicago awarded contracts are available at www.cityofchicago.org/DPS. It's a link that says awarded contracts. So you can find out who was awarded the last contract. You can find out what that company bid to win the contract. You can review when the contract is scheduled to end. Why is that important? So that you can be ready when the next bid comes out. If you see that a contract is going to end December 30th, 2022, you can start looking for in the bid opportunity list or in the buying plan. Okay, this contract is about to end. I should start looking to see if they're gonna either rebid it or if they're just gonna extend the old contract. Review the contract if the contract has subcontractors. If that contract has subcontractors, possibly you could be a subcontractor. Whoever the prime was, this is the perfect opportunity for you to try to get a face-to-face. If ABC Construction had the contract and they need fencing for a construction site, hey, I do fencing. I'm gonna call them up and see if they need a new subcontractor for fencing. Get a face-to-face, go in and talk to them about it. That paperwork should show how much the subcontractor was paid, and then you can be ready to submit your information to that company as a new subcontractor. Before you attempt to bid, make sure you have pertinent information available. I can't stress that enough. Make sure you can handle the work in the bid. Do you have the staff to complete all tasks? So going back to awarded contracts, you can do a Google search of a company name to find, I'm sorry, it's not a Google search, it's an actual search in the DPS website under awarded contracts. But how do you do the search? You can either search by a contract number, you can search by a company name, or you can search by something as generic as HVAC, training and development, painting, whatever your business is, accounting. You can search by the industry to find out who has a contract for accounting, who has a contract for landscaping, who has a contract to do painting. It's that easy to find out who has the contract by the business name, by the industry, or by a contract number. So remember that. Please use that. Always, read the contract that was done before you even thought about trying to get a contract so that you know how to bid next time and know how to basically write a bid so that you actually win the bid. Transparency is transparency. And I'm sure that all the agencies are using this now. Everybody's trying to be transparent so that they don't get in any trouble, but it helps you if you know how to find all the information that you need. Next slide. Be confident. I can't stress this enough. This is the end of the presentation, but once you get certified, you have to believe in yourself, have self-esteem. Don't be afraid to bid. It's only when you bid, it gets easier because then you know what you're doing. If you don't win this time, believe in yourself and try it again. Or go to the next agency and bid, do more than one bid just to see, so you know how it's done. If you see something that you think you can do, try it. It does not hurt to try. Do the thing you fear to do and keep on doing it. Just keep pushing forward. That's the quickest and surest way ever yet to conquer fear. Be confident in yourself and believe that you're a winner. Your self-confidence will make you unstoppable. So please make sure that you use all of your resources and make sure that you can keep pushing through until you actually win a contract. Next slide. questions? I can't hear you, Irma.
I'm looking to see if anyone has submitted anything in the chat. I don't see anything, but then I have a limited view when I'm sharing the screen. Let me see if there's anything here. Feel free to submit something in chat, right? Raise your hand or unmute yourself to make any questions, to, present any of your questions or make a comment. Take down Victoria's contact information in the event that you need to reach out to her. I'm also going to submit my contact information in the chat so that if you need to reach out to me, send me an email. If you want this presentation, send me an email, and I'd be happy to email it to you. So
no questions?
I know. So I just wanted to make that last comment that you made about, having confidence and not having success in your first bid. One of the best things that I heard from our good friend Frida out of the Women's Business Development Center is a no today doesn't mean a no forever. So perhaps your business is not in a position to or have the capacity to participate in any given opportunity, or you're just not the right fit at the moment for the purchaser. That doesn't mean you can't come back the next time. You got to be, like you said, confident, but then persistence is very important. You got to keep coming back to that table. You cannot take these decisions personally. Not everyone is going to win every single time. And there have been people that have had their, doors closed on them, opportunities, denied, whatever the case may be. These stronger companies, these stronger small businesses, they keep coming back. They're like little bulls. They'll come back and keep trying to knock that door down, and you'll be surprised. Eventually, they get a little piece to at least get them through the door, get that confidence from the purchaser, and be that person that they think of the next time an opportunity comes up. Another thing that's not very well known in the procurement process is that our businesses are not limited to whatever's being published. Most government entities have to publish opportunities above a certain size limit. But many, for example, the Chicago Community Colleges, Chicago Public Schools, and even the state, they have smaller opportunities that you could potentially come in on a $500 contract, let's say to patch up a wall, or a $10,000 contract to replace windows. So being in the know and being present and participating in all these things gets you to start collecting this knowledge. At the very least, you know who to contact. And for example, these networking opportunities, such as today's workshop, this is where you're going to be have direct access to actual decision makers. Whereas most times, if you reach out to an agency, you're going to get an info at or contact us at type of communication. And then you're basically at the mercy of that agency, whoever is manning that, monitoring that account, and how they determine to forward your question. However, you're in an event like this one, you have direct contact with these decision makers. You could ask for the direct contact information, or at the very least, catch them while they're there and ask them your question, express your concern. And then, as a follow-up to this, Victoria mentioned about, transparency, but there's also a lot of accountability. Oftentimes, if you're working hard to get these opportunities and you don't see that the agency is actively doing its part to increase its diversity spend in order to include you in their opportunities, there are councils, there are committees, commissions. Just about every government entity has somebody overseeing to ensure that there's checks and balances on everything that we're doing. So oftentimes, I myself am also a longtime government employee. You get caught up in the bureaucracy of what we're trying to do, and oftentimes, I hate to admit it, sometimes the actual mission gets forgotten in our attempts to fill out forms and check off boxes and such. We forget sometimes that we're there for a purpose, and that's where the public and our taxpayers have to come back and call us on it. So, you know, Victoria mentioned the different certifying entities, City of Chicago, Cook
Irma,
County, State of Illinois. Yes.
can you tell them about SCORE? I know you've done work with SCORE.
Thank you. So yes, SCORE is a federal program that is comprised of a number of retired professionals, whether these be small business owners, larger corporation executives, professionals such as attorneys and such, that volunteer their time through SCORE to provide consultations, workshops, just
Mentorship.
assistance. It's anything in the world of small businesses to provide assistance. This is all done free of charge. They're part of a small part of the Small Business Administration. The Small Business Administration funds a lot of these programs like SCORE, your Small Business Development Centers, your PTACs. And then again, going back to what Victoria said about your chambers of commerce and your BACPs, as a business, this is who you want to be in touch with and create a relationship, because these are the people that have their finger on the pulse of your community. Specifically, work with somebody in the community that your business is based out of. She provided a perfect example about the car wash, and it's unfortunately it's not the only story I've heard. The city of Chicago is very regulated. There's a lot of things that you have to put, check in place before you invest. This is where your chambers, your chambers of commerce, your City of Chicago resources, your small business development centers will be there to tell you. They'll also tell you about market analysis or market research. Oftentimes, I've heard of a lot of businesses want to set up a coffee shop. These organizations are going to tell you, you know what, there's already 6 coffee shops within a 3-mile radius or whatever the case may be. They might be able to recommend that you go, a half-mile south, east, west, north, whatever the case may be. Tap into these resources. These are knowledgeable people whose job it is to inform you of all that is going to keep you in business, and to let you know of any available resources, grants, funding opportunities that are in place for small businesses. I am always in amazement of the vast amount of diverse resources that just about are available to just about any industry. I mean, I when I started my job with the state, I had to do a lot of research on grants. There were grants for people with blue eyes. There were grants for people who were orphans. There were grants for people. Well, now it's very common. Historically, Black universities have their own grants and scholarships. Yeah. So I know of one right now that I'm not sure if it has already expired or deadlined. Is the Black Ambition grant that was put in place by William, the singer. I always get him wrong. William Farrell Williams, I think. So he's a singer. He's a very popular pop singer, and he created this grant. And the first grant is for primarily African American, but minorities in general, and you have to have a partnership. The second one is for business owners that are graduates of an historically Black university. So that's just to give you and sometimes it just takes Googling, and you'd be surprised of the amount of resources available just by, conducting a simple search.
Any questions? Still no
I know. Questions? I feel like I'm talking and getting blue in the face. We want to hear from you guys.
Well, I hope that the 2 people that are on enjoyed it and think that they got a lot of information, good information.
Stephanie, okay. Another thing that I always bring up towards the end of our workshops that deal with economic development is, as you come across, as you're driving, or don't do what you're driving, but as you see corporations, make a note of coming home, type that corporation name. I got, for example, BP America, United Airlines, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Type the name of the company followed by Supplier Diversity Program. Just about every large corporation and organization or agency is going to have this program in place. More and more, they are asking you for this certification from a government entity or a National Minority Supplier Development Council. but many are still allowing you to self-certify as a woman, minority, or person with disability. So take a moment to register. It's a registration. They don't charge you for registering, and that would allow will facilitate you getting frequent notifications of upcoming opportunities. So keep that in mind as you see corporations, jot them down and start a spreadsheet of your own. Start registering with as many as you can, and before you know it, you're going to start getting things in your mailbox. Corporations as well as government agencies are doing good faith efforts, whether it's by mandate or if it's by, to be politically correct or for optics, whatever the case may be. They are very actively looking to increase their diversity spend. So take advantage. If you're already certified, stay in contact with us. I provided my contact information, my email in the chat. Send me an email if you would like a copy of Victoria's presentation today. And if I don't, this program ends tomorrow. So the end of this one-year program ends tomorrow, after which I am not yet sure if I have access to this account. So if you have LinkedIn, please reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Irma Lopez, and let me see if I have that link. If you send me an email today for Victoria's presentation, my e-signature includes my LinkedIn profile. I do not charge for my services. I am currently working to participate in another program. However, I don't want you to lose opportunity in the gap of wherever I'm at. If there are no further questions.
Stephanie, are you certified? I was just asking Stephanie if she's certified.
No, not yet.
Okay. Good. So this should have helped you, and you can decide who you want to be certified with and know what you need to do before you even get started. So that's a good thing.
Because she's not certified, can you let her know? I know that the state of Illinois does not charge for certification. What does the city and the county charge, Victoria?
Both charge $250, but you don't have to do both. So I don't want to get anybody confused. If you get certified with the city, you don't have to pay the $250 with the county. You can use the same letter. And DBE and ACDBE is free.
Yes, and Stephanie, I also encourage you to reach out to me. I'd be happy to do a one-on-one consultation on what the requirements are. We want you to take advantage of this opportunity if it's something that fits you. And then another thing, if and when the other user calling in today is not currently certified, do your research. Who's buying more of what you're selling? If it's the city, we need to get you in the city right away. If it's the state, let's get you with the free certification and then work backwards to get you certified with the city. The important thing is to get you certified, as a lot of times just being a woman or minority-owned business is not sufficient. You must be certified in order to participate in these opportunities. We can't call them set-asides because these are more aspirational goals, but they're aspiring for you to fulfill them. So stick with us, utilize us, take advantage of how we are able to help you. And if there are no other questions, Victoria, do you have any parting words today?
No, just to say good luck. Good luck for anybody looking for contracts.
Thank you, Victoria.
Success. All right.
I appreciate you taking the time to, share all the information that you collected while you was with the city of Chicago for so long. I appreciate your partnership. And to the callers today, I appreciate you calling in, taking the time to join us today. I hope that this was a benefit to you and your business. Please keep my contact information. I'd be happy to reconnect you with Victoria if you so wish. However, I'm also here to help you out with whatever I can in terms of economic development. And I thank you all. I wish you all a great evening. Be safe, stay cool, and make lots of money.
Exactly.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.